The WrapAPI Chrome extension is the easiest way to capture requests to build APIs on top of existing websites. I'm Peter, the creator of WrapAPI, and today I'll show you how to capture requests so that we can log in and then upvote links on Reddit. First, let's get the WrapAPI Chrome extension installed. Once it's installed, we can open Chrome DevTools up by pressing Ctrl-Shift-I on a Windows computer or Command-Option-I on a Mac. Since we'll need more screen space, let's undock DevTools to its own window. And now we can start capturing requests. We'll go and load Reddit and try to log in. I'll first try with invalid credentials, and then once with the right ones. Having multiple requests lets WrapAPI guess which are the input parameters that change as we change the form, and automatically make those editable. Now, let's save the requests. After we save them, let's click the link to switch to the API Builder. If we open the input panel, we can see that WrapAPI automatically identified user and password as the inputs, and then filled them with what we had just entered, and finally made password a secret input since it looks like a password. On the responses side, Reddit's API simply have JSON responses, so let's just output those as is by right-clicking on the root object. The main point of building this API endpoint is so that it gives us what's called a state token. This state token contains the browser state with all cookies that we got back. For successful logins, we can use it later. Now, let's switch back to Reddit and upvote 2 pages. We'll also save these requests to the repository Reddit with the name vote. At the same time, we notice these opaque VH and UH strings sent in the request. Let's figure out where these are coming from by clicking on them to search for them in other requests. It seems that both of these can be found on the home page. Specifically, they're the mod hash and the vote hash. Let's also save this request as an example to our other Reddit API we created in the last tutorial. We'll open both APIs and switch over to the vote API we created earlier. For the votes endpoint, we can see that just as with the login, WrapAPI has guessed that the up or down vote direction, the post ID, and rank are all inputs. But the vote hash and mod hash should also be inputs, so let's add them manually, and then save the API. We now need to extract the post IDs, ranks, and hashes from the posts page, so let's go back to that endpoint. We'll add regular expression outputs to get the vote hash and mod hash. We'll also add CSS outputs to get the post IDs and ranks for upvoting. And now, if we switch to the preview pane, we'll see all the new fields we've added. We'll save the API endpoint. Let's bring it all together. We've now created 3 endpoints. One to log in, one to get the page with our mod hash, vote hash, and the posts after login, and one to actually vote. We can run the 3 APIs we created in sequence. First, we'll log in. Then, we'll call the post endpoint to get the vote and mod hashes, as well as the post that we want to vote on. We can switch back repeatedly to the call other APIs for a reference page to get all the pieces of data we need. When you use these in a production application, you wouldn't need to copy and paste, of course. You would simply pass the results from one WrapAPI call to the next one. Finally, with these 3 pieces of information, we can call the vote endpoint to vote a specific post. Let's switch back to Reddit and see if our vote registered. And there we are, the upvote through an API. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to email me at peter@wrapapi.com.